Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel today for the video. And guys, we are in Whopper Plopper season right now. I sort of like officially think that like the mid part of July is when they really start biting a Whopper Plopper, and they'll continue to bite it like up into early October, sometimes a little bit later. So what I want to do is I sort of want to give you guys a little seminar on the progression about when they bite it, the conditions, the type of areas they bite it in based upon like, July, August, September, and October. So we're gonna dig into that in today's video here. And also guys, I will put my Whopper Plopper link in my tackle warehouse link in the description of this video. If you guys like the Fishing Teacher and want to do something to help it out, if you buy your tackle like Whopper Ploppers or whatever fishing tackle or rod and reels you need from my tackle warehouse link, the channel gets a small percentage of a commission when you do that. If you buy a Whopper Plopper, we get a little bit of a commission on the profit. So that's really appreciated. Thank you very much from me and my family. And also guys, anybody interested in booking a private one-on-one instructional fishing lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat, shoot me a private message. I do most of my lessons here in Missouri on Table Rock or Stockton Lake, and look forward to hearing with you guys about that. I appreciate that. Okay, Whopper Ploppers, guys. First of all, I'll tell you one thing about it. Whopper Ploppers come in a lot of different sizes. They come a lot of, more sizes than what I thought. And there is a lot of guys that really like the little one like this. But I tell you what, 95% of the time I'm throwing, I think this is called the 130. It's the bigger one. Here's the difference between it. This thing does catch a lot of fish. I know a lot of people that catch fish on the little one. But when I'm fishing a Whopper Plopper, most of the time I'm after some big fish. So I like the bigger one. So it really just depends on the body of water that you fish. If you're fishing a body of water that is not known for a lot of quality fish in it, or maybe it has a lot of fishing pressure, or the conditions are tough, you're probably gonna do better with the smaller size. And if you fish some conditions where those fish are really biting good and, doesn't get a lot of fishing pressure and you're after quality fish, then consider going to the big one. But my recommendation, guys, is get a couple of the little ones and a couple of the 130s, and you'll be good to go on it. A couple different things with colors, and then we'll get into some areas here. There's three primary colors that I like in the Whopper Plopper. Number one is the black one here, and this is, I hand painted this one, but here's the factory one. This is called the Loon. This works good too. The black is a good one. And then this one is, I think this is called Bone. It's not like a bone color, but it's sort of like a pale yellow, the bone color here. And then just one of the clear shad patterns. So I've got, these are the three that I use 99% of the time. And the black is probably my favorite color. I like the black if the water visibility is like, probably 2 to 3.5 foot, something like that. And I like the black on like a partly cloudy day, and if I'm throwing in shade. So if I'm throwing in shade pockets or down shady banks where maybe it's partly cloudy out, then I like the black one. The black also works good early in the morning. The bone colored, this is my low light bait. This is the one where I'll fish it really early in the morning, like when it's still pretty dark out, or later in the evening, or if it happens to be cloudy or rainy. This is my number one color for a rainy day or a cloudy day, is the bright bone color. And then the shad pattern, this is gonna be where I'm in clean water, like water visibility over 3 feet. Usually a situation where you don't have much wind, fishing's tough, the sky conditions are bright, where they want a little bit more of a subdued, subtle color. So just have to rotate. If you can get them to hit the bone, guys, the bigger ones will hit the bone. You may not get as many bites on it, but they do. So normally what I'll do is I start out with the bone, and then I'll usually go to the black, and then up in the day, I'll go to the shad patterns that gets a little bit tougher. And another thing with it is I throw Whopper Ploppers, I throw every one of them on my flipping stick. I throw 20-pound test Seaguar and Vizex fluorocarbon line on the flipping stick, and I have just found that flipping stick, it not only casts the bait real good, but you get a good hook set in it, and I very seldom ever lose a fish on it. A lot of guys use braid on it. I don't like to use braid. I want a little bit of stretch that comes with the fluorocarbon. So that's the setup for me. Another reason I like the flipping stick is I can take that plopper and I can pitch it and flip it down lanes and like next to the sides of a boat dock or back in the slips of a boat dock or down the corner of a log or something. If I don't want to make a real long cast, I can make a real accurate pitch or flip with that Whopper Plopper with a flipping stick. So if you haven't tried it, try that flipping stick. Works pretty good. Okay, let's talk about areas you want to fish it in. My favorite areas to fish a Whopper Plopper in during the summertime when it's hotter is the perch spawning areas. We talked about this, you've heard me with the channel. So what you want to do is go back into those areas like they're like flatter coves where maybe in the springtime of the year the bass have been spawning. Those flatter coves are also going to be good areas for spawning perch in the summertime. Perch will spawn all summer long. So I usually start out about halfway back in a cove and I just cover water all the way to the back of the cove out the other side. And then I'll go to the next cove and the next cove. And I just run and gun those those areas where I think the perch are spawning. I fish everything. If there's grass in there, I'll fish it. If it's bare bank, I'll fish that. If there's some logs in there, I'll fish that. I just saturate that Whopper Plopper around to everything, throwing it right to the bank with a medium fast stop and go retrieve. Now, one of the things about a plopper in the summertime, you're not going to catch many fish on it if you fish it slow, like blub, 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 blub. You got to fish it pretty fast. So a medium fast stop and go retrieve. Now, as it gets cooler, let's say, for example, we start to get like into September and October when the nights are getting cooler and the water temperature starts dropping, that is when I move to a little bit steeper areas. So what I'm looking for there is I usually stay in coves still. Coves are the place I like to fish a plopper, and I'm fishing a little bit steeper banks. Now, what happens is after those perch start, after those perch are done spawning back in those flatter coves, they tend to like to move, not the perch, but the bass tend to like to move to a little bit steeper banks. So I like to go in cove areas or creek areas that have like a 45-degree angle bank to it, especially if there's a creek channel next to it, and I just parallel that Whopper Plopper on those steeper banks, especially in a low light condition. Rainy days are great for it. Works really, really good. But you'll notice, and this is the most noticeable thing that you'll see in the transition in plopper fishing, is once that water temperature starts to get down like into the lower 70s and into the 60s, they start to move back in those little bit flatter areas. And as it gets cooler, like say for example, that water temperature starting to get down around 60, low 60s, this is about the bottom window temperature wise when a plopper works pretty good. And then in that situation, I continue to fish those little bit steeper banks, but I begin to slow the bait down a little bit. Instead of using that medium fast stop and go retrieve, I'm using more of a medium, just a medium, sometimes a slower medium retrieve as the water temperature gets colder. Colors stay the same. I still use the same colors with it. But guys, it's a good bait. I mean, I talk a lot about it, that it's sort of been overhyped and overrated, and it got fished a lot. The fish did get conditioned to it, but a Whopper Plopper is still an incredible reaction lure. And here's the key to Whopper Plopper fishing if you want to be successful at it. You got to put it in your hand and not take it out. I got some buddies that are experts at a plopper. That's their deal, and they don't talk about it much. And one of their big keys to their success is they pick up that plopper in the morning and they don't take it out of their hand all day long. They throw it all freaking day long. And it's sort of like flipping a jig in heavy cover. They're not going to get a lot of bites, but when they do, they're going to get a good one. So, guys, hope it helps out. We'll talk later.